Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. Today we're diving into one of the most talked about coins when it comes to hidden value and rare errors at the 1965 Washington quarter. You may have seen videos or posts online saying this coin is worth as much as $1.8 million. In this video we're going to walk through the real history of this coin, how values are determined by collectors, what rare varieties do exist, and why those sensational Savina figure claims don't match up with actual auction results. Let's get started. First, let's set the stage with some history. The Washington quarter was introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, it features a dignified portrait of Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse, and it became one of the most iconic coins in American circulation for decades. From 1932 through 1964 these coins were struck in 98 macron% silver, but in 1965 the U.S. Mint made a major change. Rising silver prices and a nationwide coin shortage led the Mint to switch over to a copper-nickel clad composition for quarters. That means the typical 1965 quarter you find today is not silver but copper-nickel clad and carries no mint mark because the Mint removed mint marks from circulating coins from 1965 through 1967 in an effort to discourage hoarding. That transition year saw over 1.8 macron billion of these new clad quarters produced, which makes ordinary 1965 quarters extremely common. Turn zero search for. Because of that huge production run, most 1965 quarters you find in everyday pocket change are only worth their face value of 25 cents if they're worn. Even typical uncirculated examples without any special qualities might only bring a few dollars in the collector market. Some higher-grade examples with very sharp detail and full original mint luster could sell for a bit more, sometimes $50 or so in strong condition. But again, that's because most collectors want coins with the appeal and condition, not just the date on its own. Turn zero search for. Now let's get into the fascinating part, rare and valuable errors. Because 1965 was a transition year from silver to clad coins, a handful of unexpected things happened on the minting floor. In very rare cases, some 1965 Washington quarters were accidentally struck on leftover 98 macron% silver plan case that were supposed to be used for 1964 and earlier silver quarters. These errors are extremely scarce and highly sought after by collectors. They can be identified by their heavier weight and a uniform silver-colored edge with no copper showing, and if authenticated and graded by a professional service they can bring thousands of dollars at auction. Auction records show these rare silver transitional errors selling for prices in the several $1,000 range, often ranging from about $3,000 up toward $10,000 depending on condition. Turn zero search to. Other error types also exist from 1965, such as off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, and double die varieties where certain letters or numbers appear doubled in the die impression. These striking mistakes can be interesting to collectors and might bring values from a few hundred to several $1,000s depending on how dramatic and collectible they are. There are also rarer varieties like the double tail error where two reverse designs appear, and those coins are extremely scarce and have brought sales well into the tens of thousands of dollars. Turn zero search 1. In recent auction history, high-grade clad 1965 Washington quarters have even sold at strong prices because surviving examples in near-perfect condition are so uncommon. One Heritage Auctions report shows a very high-grade clad 1965 quarter commanding over $1,300, and elite examples graded in extremely high condition can bring several $1,000s because collectors prize them. But even these high-condition examples and rare errors are still far below the sensational claims of over $1 million. Turn zero search 5. So where does the idea that a 1965 quarter could be worth $1.8 macron million come from? That's the part where we need to separate hype from reality. Big numbers make for eye-catching headlines and clickbait, but real coin values are based on documented auction sales, verified by reputable houses and grading companies. There is no credible record showing any genuine 1965 Washington quarter, whether a normal clad coin, a rare silver error, or a dramatic mint error ever selling for 7 figures at a legitimate public auction. Actual sales for the most valuable examples top out in the tens of thousands at most, depending on the specific karyotype and condition of the coin. If you think you might have something rare, the best thing you can do is carefully examine your quarter and get it professionally assessed. Look for signs of unusual weight or color that could indicate the silver composition. Check for clear doubling in the lettering, or dramatic misalignments that suggest a mint error. If you find something unusual, it's worth taking it to an experienced coin dealer or submitting it to a professional grading service. They can confirm whether the coin is genuine, identify any rare attributes, and assign an official grade that helps establish a realistic marketplace value. In summary, the 1965 Washington quarter has an interesting place in United States coinage history as the first year of modern clad quarters. Most examples are extremely common and only worth face value or modest premium in collector condition. Rarer coins like silver planchet strikes or dramatic mint mistakes can be valuable and occasionally sell for thousands of dollars, but there is no verified evidence that any 1965 quarter has ever brought $1.8 macran million in a legitimate trading venue. Always rely on authenticated sales and professional evaluation rather than sensational viral claims when estimating your coin's worth. Thanks for watching this deep dive into the history and value of the 1965 Washington quarter. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like and subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss another coin value video. Drop a comment below if you've found a rare coin in your pocket change and we might feature it in a future episode. Happy collecting and good luck on your treasure hunt. Hello coin collectors and treasure hunters, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving deep into the 1995D Washington quarter, the one that's been showing up in viral videos and social feeds with claims that it could be worth as much as $1.4 million. Yes, $1.4 million. But before we reveal the truth about that and what makes some coins valuable, we're going to walk through the history of this quarter, how many were made, why most are common, and what real values look like in the market. History of the Washington quarter. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 as a way to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design was created by sculptor John Flanagan and it features Washington's portrait on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. For decades this quarter was struck in 90% silver until 1964 and then switched to a copper nickel clad composition beginning in 1965. The series has become one of the most collected and recognized coins in the United States and has run continuously since its introduction. Now fast forward to 1995. The Denver Mint was one of the facilities producing Washington quarters. The D Mint mark tells us where this coin was struck, which is why we refer to it as the 1995D quarter. Denver produced an enormous number of these coins, more than 1,103,000,000 pieces, which makes them very common in circulation. Before we talk value, let's get into what that huge mintage means. Mintage and composition. The 1995D Washington quarter has a mintage of 1,103,216,000 coins. That's 1.1 billion coins. With numbers that high, it means most examples you find in pocket change today are extremely common and not rare. They are made of a clad metal composition of copper and nickel, weigh about 5.67 grams and have the same basic design features collectors love in the Washington series. Typical value for most coins. Because 1.1 billion of these coins were made, most 1995D quarters you find in circulation are only worth their face value, which is 25 cents. Even uncirculated examples that look almost new typically only bring a few dollars to a couple of $100 depending on condition, because there are so many of them. According to recent price guides, an average uncirculated 1995D quarter might be worth between a few dollars up to around $100 to $200 in high-grade condition if it's certified by a major grading service and well preserved. In fact, auction records show a certified example graded MS67 Plus sold for around $1,300 in recent years, which is impressive for this coin but nowhere near $1 million. Error coins and exceptions. Now this is where things get more interesting. Some coins can be more valuable if they have unusual mint errors that occurred during production. Errors like double die obverse, where part of the design appears doubled off-center, overstrikes, or striking on the wrong plankett can significantly increase value compared to regular coins. In rare cases, some errors have sold for several hundred or even a few $1,000s at auction, but those are exceptions and are valued because the error itself is collectible, not because the base coin is rare. A 1995 quarter struck on a wrong plankett, for example, sold for over $1,000 at an auction. Certain off-center strikes or other error varieties have sold in the high hundreds, but none of these error coins approach a seven-figure price tag based on publicly documented auction results. Instead, they represent interesting and collectible error coins that attract specialist collectors. Addressing the viral 1.4 million claim. So what about the online videos and posts saying a 1,995D Washington quarter is worth up to $1.4 million? The simple truth is there is no verified record of a 1,995D quarter ever selling for that amount in a legitimate coin auction or market. There are rare coins in the Washington quarter series that have fetched high prices, for example very early dates like 1932 ones with low mintages or rare era coins in exceptional grades can be worth tens of thousands or more, but for the 1,995D date the documented real sale prices top out in the low thousands for high-grade or rare examples. Claims of million-dollar values for this date are almost always part of misleading clickbait or marketing posts that try to imply common coins are hidden treasures. They often rely on exaggerated narratives or promise values that are never supported by real coin market data or documented auction results. How condition and grading affect value. One of the biggest factors in coin value is condition. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC evaluate coins and assign numerical grades. Coins graded MS68 or MS69 are extremely high quality and very few survive in that condition for common dates. When a common date coin like a 1,995D quarter gets a high grade, it can command higher prices among collectors, but even then it's a difference between a few hundred to a couple of $1,000s, not millions. Collectors should also be careful to distinguish between plating or aftermarket alterations and genuine mint production traits. Many plated coins or novelty pieces appear shiny or unusual but actually have little collector value beyond novelty. Tips for collectors: if you want to know what your coin is really worth, the best approach is to have it evaluated by a reputable grader or coin dealer. Look for signs of genuine errors like clear doubling or misstrikes that happened during minting rather than damage after the coin left the mint. Condition matters immensely, and coins with clean surfaces, crisp details and nowhere bring premium prices compared to worn examples. Conclusion: the 1,995D Washington quarter has a fascinating history and is a great coin for collectors, especially when found in exceptional condition. Because of its huge mintage, most specimens are common and worth only face value or modest premiums in collector markets, while rare errors and high-grade examples can be collectible and worth hundreds to a few $1,000s. The claims of a $1.4 million value are not supported by actual auction records or numismatic evidence. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1,995D Washington quarter and want more coin history and value guides like this, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Leave a comment if you've found a rare coin in your change and we might feature it in a future video. If you want, I can tailor this script with a hook at the beginning, narration cues, and chapter markers to make it even more YouTube ready. Welcome back to the channel, Rarest Coins. Today we're diving into one of the most talked about coins on social media lately, the 1,997P Washington quarter. You may have seen videos or posts claiming this quarter is worth as much as $1.4 million. If you're curious whether those claims are real and what your own coin might actually be worth, you're in the right place. In this video we're going to walk through the history of this coin, what real collectors pay for different grades, and why those sensational million-dollar numbers don't match the actual market. Let's get into it. Let's begin with a little background on the Washington Quarter itself. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design by John Flanagan features Washington's portrait on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse, and quickly became one of America's most recognizable coins. From 1932 through 1964, quarters were made of 90% silver, but by 1965 silver prices were rising and the U.S. Mint switched to a copper-nickel clad composition we still see on modern quarters today. This change helped keep coins in circulation and made Washington quarters affordable for everyday use. Now let's focus in on the 1997p Washington Quarter. The P Mint mark tells us this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and there were about 595 million of them made in 1997, which makes this a very common modern coin. Because of that high mintage, most 1997p quarters you find in pocket change are only worth their face value of 25 cents if they show everyday wear. That's because collectors don't generally pay premiums for worn modern coins that are easy to find. Turn 0, search 0. If you happen to find one in uncirculated condition, that means it has never been spent and still retains original mint luster. It can be worth more than face value. A typical uncirculated 1997p quarter might sell for several dollars. Some certified mint state examples in modest grades might bring around $10 to $15 or so among collectors. Even high-grade uncirculated coins from professional grading services generally stay in that modest range. Turn 0, search 0. Looking at actual historical auction data gives a very clear picture of real values. According to documented auction sales, a 1997p Washington Quarter graded MS-67 by a major grading service sold for around $3,525 at a reputable auction. That result shows that truly exceptional examples in rare high grades can attract serious collector interest. But even that sale was just a few $1,000s, not anything close to $1 million. Turn 0, search 8. There are also error coins and unusual varieties that can increase value compared to ordinary coins. For example, coins with dramatic mint errors like off-center strikes, wrong plankett strikes, or double die varieties can attract premiums. Some of these error coins might sell for perhaps a few $100s depending on how striking the error is and how well preserved the coin appears. Most error examples still trade in the tens to low hundreds of dollars range, not millions. Turn 0, search 4. So what about the $1.4 million claim you may have seen online? Here's the straight truth. There is no verified auction record or documented sale showing a standard 1997p Washington Quarter ever selling for anywhere near 7 figures. Real coin values are based on actual sales data from reputable auctions and historical records. The most valuable examples of the stater and mint mark have traded for a few $1,000s at most, not $1 million or more. Sensational numbers in viral videos often come from speculation or exaggeration and are not grounded in real numismatic evidence. If you think you have a potentially valuable 1997p Washington Quarter, here's what to do. First, look at the condition. Uncirculated coins have crisp details with bright mint luster and nowhere on the high points of Washington's portrait. Look for clear error features that aren't just damage from circulation but real mint mistakes. If your coin looks unusual, it can be worth having it examined by a reputable coin dealer or submitted to a professional grading service. Grading services can authenticate whether an error is genuine and assign a numeric grade that helps establish real market value. In summary, the 1997p Washington Quarter is a very common modern coin with a large mintage. Most circulated examples are only worth face value. Uncirculated coins and rare error varieties can attract collector interest and trade for higher prices, sometimes into the thousands for exceptional certified specimens. But there is no real evidence any have ever reached a value of $1.4 million in legitimate sales. Always rely on verified auction results and professional grading when trying to determine what a coin is truly worth. Thanks for watching this deep dive into the value and history of the 1997p Washington quarter. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss future coin value videos. Leave a comment below if you have a coin you're curious about and we might feature it in an upcoming video. Happy collecting and good luck on your treasure hunt. If you want, I can also add chapter markers or a hook intro for even more YouTube impact. Hey coin collectors and treasure hunters, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about a coin that's been going viral on social media lately, the 1980p Washington quarter. You may have seen videos or posts claiming this coin is worth as much as $1.6 million. If you've got one in your pocket change and you're wondering whether that's true, stick around because we're going to break down the real history of this coin, what the market actually values it at, why rare examples can be worth more, and why million-dollar claims don't match documented sales. Let's start with the history of the Washington quarter. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The classic, designed by John Flanagan, features Washington's portrait on the front and an eagle on the back and quickly became one of the most recognized coins in American circulation. Originally, quarters were made of 90% silver, but beginning in 1965 the U.S. Mint switched to a copper nickel-clad composition in order to keep coins in circulation after silver became too expensive to use. This copper nickel-clad composition is what we see on quarters made through the 1970s, 1980s and on through the modern era. Turn 0 Search 1. Now let's zero in on 1980. This was the first year the Philadelphia Mint added the P Mint mark to Washington quarters. So a 1980p Washington quarter is the first of the Philadelphia coins in the series to carry a visible mint mark. That sounds exciting, but there's another side to the story. In 1980 the Philadelphia Mint struck over 635 million of these coins, which means they are extremely common and were widely released into circulation just like any other everyday quarter. Turn 0 Search 0. So what is a typical 1980p Washington quarter actually worth? If you find one in your pocket change with everyday wear, it is normally only worth its face value of 25 cents because collectors don't pay extra for common circulated coins that are easy to find. Even in circulated condition, that's what they typically bring on the market. Turn 0 Search 0. If you happen to have one that has never been spent and is in pristine uncirculated condition, it may be worth more to collectors. Most uncirculated 1980p quarters sell in the range of a few dollars to perhaps low tens of dollars when certified by a professional grading service because the condition is much nicer than everyday change. There are documented examples graded at extremely high levels that have sold for higher prices. For example, one 1980p quarter grade MS67 Plus brought around $900 at auction in 2019. That shows how condition matters and how collectors will pay more for extremely sharp coins that show no wear. Turn 0 Search 7. You'll sometimes hear about error coins too. These are coins that were struck incorrectly during the minting process, like off-center strikes where the design isn't perfectly aligned, clipped plan case where part of the blank is missing, or even rare wrong planchet errors where a quarter design ends up on a blank made for another denomination. Those kinds of mistakes can be collectible and can command premiums over ordinary coins. Some error 1980 quarters might sell for a few $100s depending on the rarity and how dramatic the error is, but even most of those stay in the hundreds of dollars range or maybe a few thousand for truly dramatic situations, not millions. Turn 0 Search 1. Now let's address the $1 million claim that keeps showing up online. There's no verified public auction record or reputable numismatic sale showing a standard 1980p Washington quarter ever selling for $1.6 million. Real coin prices are based on actual sales data from reputable auctions and numismatic marketplaces. The most valuable 1980p quarters ever documented have sold in the low thousands for exceptionally high-grade examples, not seven-figure prices. Sometimes videos or posts inflate numbers to attract views and attention, but that's not the real collector market. Always look for documented sales with grading certificates and auction house records, not just sensational claims. If you're curious about whether your own 1980p Washington quarter might be something special, here's what to look for. First, check the condition. Uncirculated coins with sharp details and full original luster are the ones that attract premiums from serious collectors. If the surface is glossy and there's no visible wear on Washington's cheek or hair or on the eagle's feathers on the reverse, then you might have a coin worth more than face value. Second, look for clear mint errors. Mistakes like off-center strikes, missing cloud layers, or incorrect planchet errors are things that draw collector interest. If something looks unusual, it's worth having a reputable coin dealer or professional grading service take a look. They can authenticate whether an error is genuine, assign an official grade, and help you understand a realistic market value. In summary, the 1980p Washington quarter is a common modern U.S. coin with a large mintage, and most examples are only worth face value unless they're in exceptionally high grade or have a genuine error, while high-grade certified examples can bring impressive sums relative to ordinary coins. The real documented values stay well below seven figures. Claims that the standard 1980p quarter is worth $1.6 million are not supported by actual sales records or numismatic data. Thanks for watching this deep dive into the history and value of the 1980p Washington quarter. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss future coin value episodes. Drop a comment below if you have a coin you're curious about and we might feature it in an upcoming video. Happy collecting and good luck on your treasure hunt. Hey coin collectors and treasure hunters, welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a close look at the 1997D Washington quarter, a coin that's been all over social media lately with claims that it's worth as much as $1.2 million. If you've been wondering whether that's fact or fiction and what your own coin might really be worth, you're in the right place. In this video we're going to explore the true history of this coin, how valuations work, what real collectors pay, and why those sensational seven-figure claims don't match the actual market. Let's get into it. Let's start with a little history. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday, and it became one of the most iconic coins ever produced by the United States Mint. The design by John Flanagan features Washington's portrait on the obverse with the eagle on the reverse, and it remained in use for decades. Originally these coins were made of 90% silver until 1964. But from 1965 onward the mint switched to a copper-nickel clad composition that's still used today. This transition was part of a broader effort to keep coins in circulation at a time when silver prices were rising. The 1997 Washington quarter, including the Denver Mint version we're talking about today, is made of that copper-nickel clad metal. Turn 0, search 0. The D Mint mark on your quarter tells you it was struck at the Denver Mint. In 1997 the Denver Mint produced about 599 million Washington quarters, which means this is a very common modern coin and one that circulated widely in everyday pocket change. That big production number also means it's not rare in the classic numismatic sense, and most examples you find aren't part of a limited or low mintage release. Turn 0, search 0. So what does a typical 1997D quarter actually sell for? In average circulated condition, most of these quarters are worth just their face value of 25 cents because collectors don't pay extra for coins that show wear and are easy to find. If you look at most price guides and recent sales data, 1997D quarter in circulated condition might be worth around a quarter up to $1 or so. Uncirculated examples that have never been spent and show crisp detail with full luster can bring a bit more race, sometimes a few dollars or into the low double digits in modest grades. Even certified uncirculated coins often trade in the teens or low tens of dollars depending on condition. Turn 0 Search 0. Now when we look at premium certified grades, things can get more interesting. Some coin collectors aim for high numerical grades from professional services like PCGS and NGC, and that can push the price higher. Auction records show that coins graded MS68, which is an extremely high grade representing very few imperfections, have sold for prices approaching around $1,000 to $2,000 in rare cases. One example graded MS68 sold for around $1,700 at auction in 2019 according to documented records. Another top-graded specimen in a similar condition brought over $1,400 in 2023. These results show that exceptional condition can add real value, but they are still far below the $1.2 million price tags you see in viral posts and videos. There's simply no verified auction record of a 1997D Washington quarter selling for 7 figures in a legitimate sale. Turn 0 Search 1. Why do these sensational claims get attention online? Big numbers attract clicks and views, and some content creators use eye-catching headlines to get you to stop scrolling. But real coin values come from verified transactions in reputable auctions and from established price guides, not from speculation or hype. A coin's value is based on condition, rarity, demand and documented sales, not wild social media estimates. Now let's talk about errors and unusual varieties, because that's where some coins do become more valuable. An error coin is one where something went wrong during the minting process, such as an off-center strike where part of the design is missing, a clipped plankett where part of the blank is cut off, or a coin struck on the wrong plankett intended for another denomination. These kinds of mistakes are interesting to collectors because they're rare deviations from the normal production. While some error coins can command premiums over face value and even into the hundreds of dollars for dramatic mistakes, they still don't reach 7-figure prices for the stater and mint mark. Collectors pay for genuine, well-documented errors, and even the rarer examples of modern quarters usually sell for modest sums relative to sensational claims. Turn 0 Search 2. If you find a 1997D quarter that you think is unusual, the best thing to do is examine it carefully and consider having it evaluated by a reputable dealer or a professional grading service. Only a certified grading company can confirm that an error is genuine and assign a numerical grade that helps determine market value. Authentication and grading make transactions safer and give you a realistic idea of what a collector might pay in the real world. In summary, the 1997D Washington quarter is a common modern coin with millions of examples produced. Most circulated examples are worth their face value of 25 cents. Uncirculated coins and high-grade certified specimens can be worth more, sometimes significantly more in rare cases, but even the top auction results historically stay in the low thousands, not the million-plus range. Claims that a 1997D quarter could be worth $1.2 million are not supported by actual sales data or numismatic evidence. Thanks for watching this deep dive into the history and value of the 1997D Washington quarter. If you found this video helpful, make sure you hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss another coin value video. Drop a comment below if you've got a coin you want us to talk about and we might feature it in a future video. Happy collecting and good luck on your treasure hunt. If you want, I can also help add chapter markers or a hook intro to make this script even more YouTube friendly.